If criticism hits you harder than anyone you know, it is not because you are fragile. It is because your brain is tuned to catch what most people walk straight past. Someone gives you a small piece of feedback, one line, maybe even a kind one, wrapped in 3 compliments, and you hear the 3 compliments sort of somewhere in the background, but the one criticism goes straight in. It lands somewhere deep and it stays. Hours later, you are still holding it, replaying the exact words, rewriting what you should have said back, wondering if it means something bigger about you than the person could ever have intended. Everyone else seems to shrug this kind of thing off by lunch. You are still carrying it at 2 a.m. And somewhere in there, a quieter thought forms. Why does this get to me so much, when it barely seems to touch anyone else? People have a word for this. They call you sensitive, thin-skinned, someone who just cannot take feedback, and the advice is always the same. Don't take it personally. Grow a thicker skin. It's not that deep. You have tried all of it. You have told yourself it doesn't matter. You have practiced letting things roll off you, and the feedback lands just as hard the next time. So you started to believe the label that you are simply too soft for the world, that there is something weak in you that everyone else got issued and you somehow missed. But that diagnosis is wrong. You do not have thin skin, you have a high-resolution threat detector. Think about a basic household smoke detector. It only screams once the kitchen is already on fire. Now think about the thermal sensor on a deep space satellite. It registers a shift of a fraction of a single degree. Because out there, in the dark, that fraction can mean survival. Nobody calls that sensor broken for reacting to something small. It was built to catch what a cruder instrument would miss. Your response to criticism works the same way. Where someone else registers mild feedback, you register the whole signal, the tone underneath the words, the thing they did not quite say. The small shift in how someone is looking at you. You are not reacting to nothing. You are picking up something real that most people are simply too coarse-tuned to catch. And there is one specific advantage this sensitivity gives you that almost no one ever names. I'll come back to it, because it changes how you should think about this entirely. For now, hold on to this. The instrument is not faulty. It is just far more sensitive than the environment usually requires. To understand what is actually happening when criticism hits you, we have to start with your brain's oldest priority, not success, not happiness, belonging. For most of human history, being cast out of your group dramatically reduced your chances of survival. Alone, you could not hunt enough, guard enough, or last a hard winter. So your brain evolved to treat social rejection as a genuine threat to your life. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran a now-famous study on exactly this. She found that social rejection activates some of the same neural systems involved in physical pain. Being criticized does not just feel bad in a figurative way. Your brain runs it through circuitry it also uses for actual injury. That is why a single offhand comment can land in your chest like a bruise, even when your rational mind knows it is small. So when people tell you that you feel criticism too much, here is the truth. You are feeling it as exactly what your nervous system believes it is, a threat to your place in the group. But that is only half of the story. Because not everyone's detector is set to the same sensitivity. Here is the part that changes everything. Psychologists have identified a trait called rejection sensitivity. It means your nervous system is set to do 3 things, almost automatically: to anxiously expect rejection before it has even happened, to readily spot it in the smallest shift of a room, and to intensely react to it to protect you. The roots of this idea go back to earlier work on how our earliest experiences shape a fear of rejection. But the specific pattern researchers study today was mapped out by psychologist Geraldine Downey and her colleagues in the 1990s. And what they found matters. This is not a character flaw, it is a learned adaptation. Often shaped early, in environments where approval felt conditional, or love felt like something you had to earn by getting it right. If safety once depended on reading the room perfectly, your nervous system learned to scan relentlessly for the first sign of disapproval, not because you are broken, because at some point that scanning is exactly what kept you safe. The system that hurts you now is the same system that once protected you. And there is a third layer, the one that makes criticism stick. Think about the last time someone praised your work all morning. Then, almost as an afterthought, offered one small correction. Which part did your brain replay that night? That is negativity bias. Your brain gives negative information more weight and more staying power than positive information. You can get 99 glowing comments on something you made and one cruel one, and your mind will circle the cruel one for days, starving the other 99 of oxygen. Psychologist Roy Baumeister summarized decades of research on this with one blunt phrase: bad is stronger than good. This is why the three compliments faded into the background, and the one critique went straight to your core. Your brain was doing what every human brain does, prioritizing the threat. You just feel it more, because your detector is more sensitive to begin with. So stack these three together: a brain that treats rejection as physical danger, a nervous system tuned by your own history to expect it, and a built-in bias that makes the bad stick harder than the good. That is not weakness. That is a precise, powerful, slightly overprotective system running at full volume. Understanding the system does not turn the volume down by itself, but it gives you precise places to step in. 3 tools, each aimed at a different point in the process. The first tool is called the signal split. When criticism hits, 2 things arrive fused together: the information and the threat. The information is the actual content. This specific thing could be better. The threat is the story your nervous system wraps around it. This means something about my worth and my place. The signal split is the deliberate act of pulling those 2 apart. Here is what it looks like in real time. Someone says, "Your presentation felt a little rushed." Your chest tightens. The threat story spins up instantly. "I am bad at this. Everyone could tell. They think less of me now." Before you let that story run, you pause and ask one question: what is the actual information here, stripped of everything my brain is adding? And you write it down in one plain sentence. Slow down during the transitions. That is it. That is the whole of the real feedback. Small and completely usable. It was the threat wrapped around it that made it feel enormous. The second tool is called the 24-hour rule. Your first reaction to criticism is your alarm system firing. It is not your judgment. In that first window, everything feels bigger, more permanent, and more personal than it actually is. So you make yourself a rule. No conclusions in the first 24 hours. You are allowed to feel it completely. You are not allowed to decide what it means about you yet. Not allowed to fire back, over-apologize, or quietly rewrite your whole self-image on the spot. Here is why the wait works. Your first reaction belongs to your alarm system. Your second reaction belongs to your judgment, and they do not arrive at the same time. The same sentence, read one day later from outside the spike, almost always reads smaller and clearer. You are not suppressing anything. You are just refusing to let the loudest moment make the decision. The third tool is called the source check. Not all criticism is equal, but your threat detector treats it as if it is. A stranger's throwaway comment and a mentor's careful note hit you with the same intensity, even though only one of them has earned your attention. The source check is 3 quick questions. First, does this person actually know what they are talking about here? Second, do they want you to do well, or are they just dumping their own bad day onto you? And third, would this same comment land differently if it came from someone whose judgment you deeply trust? This is not about dismissing feedback. It is about giving your sensitivity a filter, because precision without a filter becomes anxiety. Precision with a filter becomes wisdom. So here is what is actually true. You are not thin-skinned. You are not too soft for the world. You have a threat detector built to catch what other people walk straight past. And here's the advantage I promised you at the start. That same sensitivity, the one that makes criticism sting, is the reason you read people other people misread. You are often the first to feel the tension in a room before anyone names it, the first to notice someone going quiet and pulling away, the first to sense that something is wrong before anyone can explain what. What hurts you is also what makes you unusually perceptive. You cannot have the perception without the sensitivity. They are the same instrument, and a spacecraft does not get safer by dulling its sensors. It gets safer by learning which signals actually require action. That is your work. Not to make the instrument less sensitive, but to aim it, protect it, and stop letting it fire at full volume over things that do not deserve it. Split the signal from the threat. Wait the 24 hours. Check the source. And the next time one small piece of feedback lands like a physical blow, take a breath. And remember this, you do not feel criticism this deeply because something is wrong with you. You feel it this deeply because you were built to notice what everyone else misses. That was never the flaw. It was always the gift you were punished for having. Now, if you are sitting with this and realizing that the same high-resolution detector that reads criticism so sharply is also the thing that notices distance, that senses when someone is pulling away, that leaves you feeling most alone in a room full of people who like you, That is exactly what the next video is about, because the same sensitivity that reads a room this well also shapes how connected or how invisible you feel inside it. Click this video right here. I'll see you over there.